they're a sponsor, sort of like, they basically gave me a trade book to mess with, and that's it. But and I just threw in a long trade, and I wanted to do it when the price was much lower, but I had to wait over a week and a half, and like by the time I got it, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go 3x long and let it ride and see what happens. And then that's when the market started tanking, and then everything with Trump happened. So it is what it is. But effectively, this is all where I expect things to happen. This here is around May 19th, and we're in April 12th still. So I'm basically waiting for May. And the sentiment around that is in all of the things that I believe to be happening come May. That's why I say May Day, and I've been calling for May Day for quite a while. Government regulations, Cardano, the Bitcoin OS, a lot of stuff is going to be happening in May. And I'm not sure that it's going to be, I'm not sure if we're going to begin a real catapult run into the month of May, which goes even further, or if we're going to be sideways through April and then start kicking things off in May as everybody loads up and then the sentiment starts really turning around. But ultimately, this calls for a peak in October. And the peak is going to happen whenever it happens. I'm still not 100% sold that we don't end up in some form of super cycle. I'm really not. I believe it's possible from here. I've showed videos where I've lined everything up with the NASDAQ. We're still playing that out. And if it continues to play out the way the NASDAQ did from 2007 on, we're in a 10 plus year super cycle from here, folks. So we might get a fake out peak, and we might come down 30% and then start a way up into another run. We're basically at the very beginning of an absolutely, like, a fundamental transition out of the old way of finance and into this new blockchain revolution. And that is not going to just like ebb and flow the way the markets have since 2009. I just don't think that these market cycles are going to be playing out the way we've been expecting them, which is going to make things a lot more difficult to some extent. So, but we're going to see, we're going to see. I don't think we're going to get the big like 60, 70, 80% drawdowns from a peak that we're used to seeing. I really don't. I think this is going to be the age where people start holding on to a lot of their crypto. So, we'll see how it plays out, but obviously the DXY, the dollars is dropping, broke under 100, which is a pretty big deal. I think it's going to continue doing so. And I mean, these are 5-minute candles here for Bitcoin. And you can see we got a weak flying crow indicator here. I might start pushing that, and I'm going to start using some of my old school indicators again, because they were always doing pretty well. And I know Crypto Chef in my Telegram group, he likes to use my indicator as well. And he seems to be doing pretty well with it. So this is definitely more for newcomers to trading. He does really well. I don't think he needs this, but I think he uses it just out of loyalty, which I find very, very cool. But we got a weak diving crow around this candle, and of course that played out pretty strong. We got a pump and it came down a bit, and then that correction triggered this weak flying crow, and then boom, away we've been going. So I mean, we got a strong flying crow all the way down here before this run up. So and just so that you understand, and I don't even have the link handy, I'll share it at some point in the future, but gosh, you know what, Crypto Chef, if you have the link, I don't know if you have the link or not, but if you do, share it in chat so I can open it up. Because I was working on a confluence of indicators, and basically this team helped me make this. And I said, I want, this, and this to happen before we get these triggers. And, they, in a bull market, they seem to be far more accurate than in a bear market. In a bear market, they're still pretty accurate, but the weak flying crow seems to be more accurate for big runs in a bear market, which is odd. And then the strong flying crow is really, really good in a bull market. So it's accurate as an indicator, but it seems to be more accurate in a bull run or a bull market than it is in a bear market. So, it's pretty interesting. So we'll see. Now, this is also Cardano against Ethereum. It's steadily making its way up. I believe that in May, we're going to see this be parabolic. And that's not to say that I think Ethereum is going to stand idle. I don't. I think Ethereum is going to grow as well. It always does. Ethereum is not dead, but it's also not like running marathons at this point. I think Ethereum is very likely going to continue going up. Maybe it gets back to like 2,500, even $3,000. Maybe even gets back to $4,000 by like later on in the cycle. But that might be it. I don't necessarily think it's going to grow beyond that. I could be wrong, but I do see Cardano blowing past it. I see Cardano blowing past quite a bit, if I'm honest. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. It's like you can look at the charts and you can see the way Cardano's price holds when everything else is just tanking, and the way it grows, while others can grow a little quicker, but then Cardano almost always catches up at a certain point. And it's just a very interesting dynamic that Cardano has with the market. So, you know, I'm pretty excited about what's coming in May. And yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it.